Hey, what's up, y'all? I am just getting set up here out by El Cap at my usual hangout area. Trying to get onto the stream here. All right, let's see. Am I connected? Hey, Ford, how's it going? Let me know if the stream is coming through all right. I just got going here. It is still pretty early. Sunset is in about an hour. All right. I think I'm good now. Okay. So I'm testing out a little new setup here. You can see me right here. I'm down here in the bottom. Hey, Jody. This is my super sophisticated setup. I'll show you here. I'm testing out some stuff here for Firefall. And I went over by my planned place where I'm going to go when it's actual Firefall, and kind of tested out Starlink over there, tested out my camera setup. Let me do this, make sure my Wi-Fi is solid here. Eesh. Looks like it might be spinning. Hey, Max, how's it going? I'm trying something new today, so bear with me while I'm getting dialed in here. It'll take me a second to get things going. It looks like the stream is frozen. Yosemite right now is very nice. The weather is perfect. There we go. All right, I'm back online. Sorry about that. I was trying to get connected here with my setup. Let me know if you are not able to hear me. Yeah, I just switched from one Wi-Fi to another. Sorry about that. This is a new setup for me. Normally I just use my phone. However, yeah, I'm trying something different here. Okay, I think it's working now. Good. Yeah, I can actually, here's what I did. I signed up for a backup account on TikTok, and now I can be on this app on my phone, and I have this as my streamer set up here. So I have a full-size camera and a legit lens. And yesterday, when it got dark, the TikTok app was bugging at me. It gave me a warning I had never seen that said, like, it thought I was just showing a black screen. And I was like, well, we were watching the climber lights up there, and so tonight, or today at least, as it gets dark, um, my lens here will be able to actually pick that up. So we'll see how it goes. I'm keen, obviously interested to see how this works. It is a lot of fiddling around here. I have a computer, I have a battery pack, I have a table, I have 2 tripods, a lens, a bunch of cables to connect it all together. So it's a lot of finagling around. I'm getting fancy, and so I'm just hoping it works, because basically what I want to do is use this setup when it's the actual firefall. My goal is to connect this camera that I have here into my full-size camera. So that's what I went over there to my spot earlier to test it out, and frame up my lens, see how my lens looks over there, test the Starlink over there, and when I'm actually doing the live stream in 2 weeks or whatever it is when I'm back here, I want to just make sure that I know that it's going to work. So yeah, best not to be fiddling with it and figuring it out on the fly in 2 weeks. So hope everybody's doing good this evening, and your guide had worked at and lived in the park when you were there. Okay. Yeah, ultimate geekiness for sure. I'm not sure if I like this 360 camera here. It's kind of, I don't know, not ideal, I guess I'll say. It's a really wide angle. And I'm still figuring out how this software works inside the this application called OBS. And I probably don't have everything set up exactly right yet. I am not a desktop streamer. Normally when I'm doing streaming, it is just like fire up the TikTok app and have at it. So I think there's probably a lot of dialing in that I've yet to figure out here. And I might actually swap cameras here with something else just to see how it works. So let me know if it is working. Let me know if things are working well or not, and I will do my best to correct them. Thank you, Grace. My thinking is it would be kind of neat to have 2 cameras going at once. So you can see me do TikTok dances in the background here while I also show you what's going on around here. It's not very busy today. Yesterday I think it was more busy in this area. There was just a person over here. He's still around. I think he just might be inside his vehicle here. So this guy over here. He was chatting with me. He's looking at climbers up there, and he asked me if it was normal for climbers to be dangling off the wall. I was like, I guess it's normal. I've definitely seen that. Got a couple of dogs. So today, what did I do? Today I went over to the same spot I did the hike yesterday, and other than that, I was in the van fiddling around with this stuff, my setup here, trying to dial it in, see that I can make it work. The temperature here right now is approximately 48, I would bet, maybe 48 degrees, 50. Not many people. You like this setup? Cool, Red Mama. Yeah. I can also like show you this is like the zoomed out view. And so far it seems to be going okay. We went to Florida. You love Yosemite. I love Yosemite too. So if you see me in the little picture on here, I'm looking at the chat here so I can follow along with the chat. It is, even though I have this other screen going here, and I'm also multi-streaming right now. I'm sending this to my Tube channel as well, which I've never done that before, but trying it. You love that we can do live videos like this. Yes. Yeah. It's 4:37. Sun sets at 5:20 today. There is a little bit of a cloud layer down over here. You can see that in the picture-in-picture. So that might reduce the glow. A little bit, at least. I am going to get out my other camera and see if I can... Yeah, there is people up on the wall. I know it's zoomed out. I do have a different lens. Try that for a minute and we could see how it looks. What do you think? Try it? I think we should. I'm in the van, grabbing two other things to try out. So this is my Firefall lens, also the one that I use to photograph bears. I'm gonna put that on and see how that looks. You guys can tell me what you think. I've never swapped the lens while I'm in something, so hopefully it doesn't mess with the camera too much. Alright, so hang tight, folks, while I swap lenses here. The main camera is going to go out for a second and then it'll come right back once I swap them. All right, yeah, so that's my 70 millimeter lens here, and with this obviously we could take a look closer. I could zoom in on people up there. I think there's some climbers right there at the bottom of the sickle edge. You see that? Kind of in the bottom of the frame. The feed's a little bit delayed, but I think it's coming through. Yeah. So there's some climbers right down there, I think. Just this. Eek. Uh-oh. There they are. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a group right there. But what I really need right now is like something that's like, right now I'm at 70 millimeters zoom. And what I need is like 35 millimeter. Oops. Yeah, this is much sharper for sure. So what do you think? This view or the big wide open view? I feel like this is better for right now. But this is the camera setup here that I'm going to use when it's firefall, and when I'm over there in the meadow, or not in the meadow, but in the area on the south side valley loop trail. This zoom is perfect. We're just a little bit too close to like see the whole thing at this zoom level. Good, Red Mama. Hey, FLGA grown. Yeah, I've watched climbers a lot. I don't really zoom in that much on them anymore. I have a scope, and yeah, it's just like zooming in super close, just too much for me to process. So I'm just keeping it far out here because I do not want to look at them that close. But yeah, I've watched a lot of climbing. Definitely. I've never seen anyone climbing without a rope, other than during a movie or on TV. Let's see here. I also have a different camera. It's a DJI Osmo Pocket 3. Try this and see how this looks. I did not test this earlier, so I don't know how well it's going to work. Good. Yeah, good, Red Mama. Okay. Let's see here. I've had this DJI camera for some time, but okay, here we go. Let's try this. fiddling around here. Uh-oh, screaming baby. Okay, webcam mode. Yes, webcam mode. Let's see. I don't know. It's not working. I need to try this some other time. Yeah. Medium. I don't know. It's not working. I give up on that. I'll try that some other time. Fix this picture in picture. Okay. That did not work. My favorite park, Megan, is Yosemite, by a long shot. If I could only go to one park forever, this would be it. And I never get sick of it. Ever. It is the one for me. What's your favorite park, Megan? Do you have one? Hey, wise girl, how's it going? I saw some squirrels today, that's about it. Not a lot of animals out on the trails that I was on, at least. Oh, you like Yellowstone? Yeah. I like Yellowstone too. I thought a lot in the past day about I don't know, like Yellowstone and Katmai. And if I had to pick one as my backup park, I usually tell people my top 4 when people ask me what are my favorite parks. And I think I could just narrow it down to 2 or even 3. Katmai is my number 2 and Yellowstone is my number 3. And Kings Canyon is my number 4. However, I feel like I'm defending Kings Canyon when I bring it up, and people don't get it. They're not really. Kings Canyon it's amazing, but the best parts of it require like multi-day backpacking to get to. So it's hard to get to the best spots. That's the challenge. You like this setup? Cool. Thanks, Kat. Yeah, I can, tonight when it gets dark, I will be able to actually keep the lenses or whatever, the camera on something and see something. Here's the firefall, waterfall, the horsetail fall. Where do I want to go next, Megan? Yeah, I'll be back in Yosemite just a bunch of times over the next few months. But one place that I'm looking to travel to that isn't Yosemite is I want to go to Katmai in July. And so next weekend, the permits get released for Katmai, and so I am going to be logged into the website, and I'm going to be like doing the fast click routine to try to secure some campsites. The firefall technically starts on the 10th, and then it officially like kind of ends on the 26th. What is the firefall? The firefall is it's just a name for this effect that is caused by the light over here on this thing that we're looking at. You can't really tell, but there's water dripping down right there where the camera is pointed at. And if there was more water, it would be even more special. But basically, right at sunset, the light hits the water and it makes the water glow orange and red. And so people have labeled it, that effect or this time period, as the firefall. And you're going to need water, of course, to like really have that visible. But when the water gets lit up, it actually glows a different color than the rock. And so there's like a stream of different colored stuff falling, and the rest of the rock face is kind of lit up too in orange, but this stripe where the water is coming down looks even more like falling fire. I've got a few videos on my page, and if you scroll down, I think I posted them, I don't know, months ago, but basically there's one that I have where the water is blowing mist and it's like orange. I have been to Pinnacles. Yes, I was at Pinnacles just a few weeks ago. We won't be able to zoom in on anybody pitching their portaledge because I'm not set up for that right now. This is my max zoom, and there are some climbers up there, but you really won't be able to like see them as closely as if I was using my scope. And yeah, there's definitely climbers up there, especially in that area, that general area where I was just looking. And there's also some climbers over here. You always hear him, let fire fall. Hey Tara, how's it going? If you're just joining in, I am basically camped out here. Not camped out, but I'm set up here with my advanced streamer setup. I have never done this before today, but I am trying it now with my laptop hooked up into the computer, and then 2 cameras here. So if you see me looking over this way, it's because for some reason I just keep looking at that, but what I need to do is like put this over here. And I can't tell if there's a delay or not. Say hi to your dad, please. Okay. Your dad... Is your dad over here right now? In this area? Tara? Oh, you spend a month here. That's nice. I spend about 2 months here every year. For the past roughly 4 or 5 years, I've been coming up here very often. Yeah, this is all granite. also some really cool features over here, like this. There's a waterfall back there, kind of in that gap, right back in there, called Sentinel Fall. I hiked over there 2 weeks ago and went up to the base. At the very tip of that large pine tree right at the bottom of the screen is where the waterfall base is at. But yeah, I love the way the light hits this area of the valley and these rocks over here. Strange shapes. Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, there are people rock climbing up there right now for sure. There's at least 6 groups. Yesterday when it got dark, we could see the headlamps, and if you hang around long enough, or if you come back later after sunset, the headlamps come on and it becomes a lot easier to see where they're at. When the light is hitting El Cap in the afternoon, I get like really interested in some of these formations, like this one here, the Cyclops. And I just can't imagine what it would be like to get up in there and be, like, you reach this spot. It almost looks like within this area right here that there's a spot where there's like grass growing, but it's probably just like tan colored rock. Once it gets into the shadows, these different areas, they look different. Like right now, it's just different. It's always changing. There was a climber over in this general area 2 days ago, and I think I can see him right now. It's really hard, but he's there. Thanks, Karen. Can you see the climber? Almost right in the middle of the screen. Kind of look right in the middle of the screen. There's a dark spot right next to the gray colored band. So this is my full zoom here with this camera. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a climber. And there's more over here. There was several groups up there around the Dolt Tower and the boot. I think I can see where they're at. Oh, cool, Karen. Yeah. He just pointed at the screen and asked if that was it. Oh, Kayla, yeah. I like the Free Solo movie for sure. It usually takes climbers 4 days minimum for like an average climber, and though it can be done in less than that. Back in November, I was hanging out here, and a few guys came past, and they talked to me while I was sitting here streaming, and they mentioned that they did it in 24 hours. Of course, Alex Honnold did it in like 3 or 4, and there's other different climbers who have also done it in like a speedy type of way. You'd be there anyone on the wall right now. This right here definitely looks like a heart. Yeah, people do definitely sleep up there for sure. And there will be people up there sleeping out tonight. It really just got cold all of a sudden. I feel like I need to put on a jacket. I'm going to go into the van and grab my jacket. Okay, that's better. Lou, there are climbers in a couple of different areas. We just kind of looked at one of them, who's going up this route called Native Sun, which is apparently the hardest route out here because it is so steep. When I hiked up to when I hiked up to this area 2 days ago, so I hiked up to this base, to the base right there, and then I followed the base over to approximately here. In this area right here, there's basically water dripping down on me. And the water's dripping down on me because it's overhanging. So the rock itself is sort of like I think it's a concave. Concave is where like something is bowed in, and convex is out, right? So it's like a concave type of rock face. And yeah, there's a guy up there right in that middle area right now by himself. And he was just getting started the other day when I was up there. And he was only about 200 feet off the ground on his ledge, his portaledge. I have a Ram ProMaster, yeah. It's a van. No, I don't do climbing. I do not do climbing. And I never will. That is something that I don't want to do. I couldn't imagine how scared I would be up there. Like, just, ugh. Like, if you actually look out at these people from a distance, you're like, oh, there's a guy up there, or there's a woman up there. But then when you like zoom in at 80x, and you're like, holy smokes, there's like, yeah, I mean, just even describing it makes me kind of get uncomfortable, because you're looking at somebody who's just hanging there off their rope, and there's nothing. It's not like climbing a hill. It's literally like climbing a sure, straight up thing. So there's very little places, there's very few places where there's anything underneath them. Yeah, exactly, Kayla. Yeah, for you, I got I do the camp flare to get cancellations for camping. Hey, Beach Bunny, how's it going? How's Callie? Right now I'm at 70x zoom, and I can zoom in, but I can't zoom in much further than kind of like that. So, yeah, with this setup that I'm using right now, it's just like, this is as far in as I can go. Yeah, I know what you're saying, KK77. That's why I don't want to keep zooming in. That is why I'm sticking at this far out view. And I'm thinking I'm actually going to pop in my other lens, because I really want to be able to see the whole thing. And it's starting to light up all over now. So I'm going to pop the lens off again and switch to my 24 millimeter. All right. There's a little bit of a cloud shelf out to that direction over here, to the west. So the amount of glow we're seeing right now is not as much as the other day. I'm still figuring out how to tune this camera for catching the glow. Oh, Del Mar, yeah, this is my setup right now that I'm just trying out, trying to get dialed in for Firefall. Lou, my favorite national park is Yosemite. What's your favorite? Yeah, this is El Cap right here. You can pan around, show you some of the other side. The free rider route is essentially where I'm pointing to right now. Have a good one. Yep. Alrighty. Thank you, Mo. Yeah, Freerider is kind of in that west face of El Cap. And I'm not sure I would properly point it out, but it's kind of in this area. Imagine starting down in the middle area where it's bowed out. In this area called the nose. So like right through here. Yeah, official sunset is in 8 minutes, and we're definitely getting blocked by the clouds. Otherwise it would be a bit more color. Where do I go live besides Yosemite, Lou? I go live in national parks. I was in Pinnacles a few weeks ago. I have done live streaming in Yellowstone, Grand Teton, Zion, and Pinnacles. I've only been on TikTok for about, I guess, 5 months. Yeah. You're not going to be able to see it on my screens. They're out there. They're up there. Nope, I'm not filming the climbers. I'm just watching sunset. Oh yeah, Karen, also my backyard. I have a bluebird in my backyard, a blue jay, scrub jay that probably wonders where I'm at right now. Yeah. People see somebody with a bunch of stuff set up and their first instinct is to come over and like, what's going on? I guess if you're not skilled at seeing climbers, you would wonder if there's climbers up there, but they're not that hard to find if you spend enough time looking. Dawson, yeah, I don't climb. I just like to watch climbers. I actually just like this area, and I'm inspired by climbers. Just the kind of the incredible feat of what it is, and yeah, watching climbing. Kayla, the question, are you allowed to record climbers? It's really not it's not something that somebody could tell you can't or can do. They're up there, and it's basically allowed. I don't know. I mean, if the question is it like legal to film climbers? I believe it's a constitutional thing. Like First Amendment is you can film and record people out in public. So climbers that are out in public, they kind of have to assume that they might be getting filmed. There was a time back here in November where I was watching a climber, and everybody who was watching my stream was like, what's she doing with her pants? And then all of a sudden she was like peeing over the side of her portaledge, and it was like, oh my goodness. I turned the camera to a different view because the climbers are, you know, they're up there and there's nowhere to hide, essentially. So that was pretty funny and unexpected. Karen, yeah, they actually do a lot of not hiking. They do climb at night. The conditions at night are sometimes more suitable. Because the rubber on their shoes during the daytime doesn't have as good a grip, which kind of sounds almost unbelievable. You would think that the grip on the shoes would actually be better, but when it's too hot and it's too warm on the rubber and the rock face, the grip is less. So they do that at night. They climb at night. It's crazy to imagine that they'd be up there climbing around at night. You remember that? Yeah, when the girl was peeing over the side. You like the double camera. Cool. Listen. It seems to be fairly stable, I guess. I basically have this cable coming out of my camera here, and that goes into another little dongle device, and then that goes into another dongle, and then this goes into one of the USB ports on my laptop. You like how you can see me? Nice. Yeah, this camera here that is super wide angle might not be the most ideal for this. I feel like it would be better if it was not the fisheye lens. So I'll figure out how to get my other camera to work for the future. Basically trying to dial in this setup for firefall, because I want to be able to do this sophisticated setup here with my actual camera, because this is able to get way more color and light. Like right now, it's already starting to get dark. With my phone, it would start to fade, and it really looks like it's still bright out. Have I ever been to Leaning Tower in Yosemite, Dawson? I don't know where that is. I'm not sure, so I don't think so. It might snow. I hope it snows more. If it doesn't snow more, that's actually a real concern for the winter, or for the summer. For the summer, we want it to be starting with a good snowpack. So hopefully it snows in the next 2 weeks. I'd actually love it if it snowed like soon. Yeah, but it looks like it is going to be dry. Yeah, it's beautiful. I think the time of day where I like this area the most is early afternoon. From like 1 to 3. Well, right now, at least when the sun is where it is, it's nice. And then it's just from 3 to 5. Leaning Tower was where Dan Osman did his last jumps. It's just a rope. Oh. Yeah, I don't know where that is, so I have not been there, Dawson. I will have to figure out where that is. You just came back from Yosemite. What should you do next? That's hard to answer because I don't know where you live, Luis. Are you local to California? If you're in California, in the wintertime, it would be good to go to Joshua Tree. You could also go to Channel Islands. Those would be okay right now. I've actually been thinking about wanting to go back to Channel Islands. I've been there, done camping and stuff on the island. I think pretty much all of the national parks in California are worthy of a visit. So, oh, you're in SoCal. Okay. Have you been to Joshua Tree yet? Now is the time to go because it's not super hot. Yeah, and I know Yosemite lover. You live down there, right? You could also go to Death Valley. I've been seeing a lot of videos lately from people who are going there, and the water in Lake Manly is still there, and so you can get some cool photos or videos with really still water and reflections and stuff. Eastern Sierra is cool if you want to go and like probably see some real winter conditions right now. You could head over there, and I think you'd find snow. Yeah, this is El Cap, and official sunset was just now, 2 minutes ago. So within the next probably half hour or 20 minutes, we'll see some climbers turn on their headlamps. I do have to go back to work tomorrow. When I say go back to work, that means I'm going to be busy with work during the day. Usually what I do is I go to a spot where I can look out the window and see something. Oh yeah, you're seeing some color. Yeah, you're right. Mull, it's right above the heart there. There's definitely some glow there, catching the last of that light. The lack of clouds here actually is, in my mind, it's kind of a negative. There's like overcast clouds, which is not pleasant, but then like puffy clouds. Puffy clouds can make for really interesting photos, or puffy clouds being like hung around. Like sometimes you'd be over here by by El Cap, and there'd be like a cloud halfway up, and you'd see the top and the bottom, but you wouldn't see the middle. When it's just blue sky like this, it ends up being less dramatic. So that's what rain and snow adds to the general vibe here. Yeah, there are climbers up there. Yeah, John, living the dream, for sure. There's climbers up there, and once the sun goes down further, the lights will come on. And with this camera setup that I have here, we'll be able to see their lights. So I will keep broadcasting until I get tired. Yesterday I was out here until like 6, and it just got so dark that my regular phone camera could not pick them up. But with this camera here, my setup, I will be able to see them. Gene, I've not used the scope in probably a month and a half. 2 months actually. I was here in November, end of November, and I did use the scope. I used some binoculars today to keep an eye on some of the climbers, or just look around. So, yeah, still have the scope, and there's no reason to get rid of it. The actual reason I got it was to watch climbers, but also to be able to see wildlife, and looking at bears from a safe distance, or wolves and stuff like that. That's some of the stuff that I still intend to do with it, and a scope really doesn't ever go bad. Thank you, Kristen TN. Yeah, it's a little monochrome. I think I need to tune my camera some more. That's part of why I wanted to do this stream today over here. Figure out how this setup all works together, and dial in my settings. With the TikTok app, when you do streaming and stuff, it's like kind of on auto. And with this type of camera that I'm using right now, it's not really an auto. It does have an auto, but it's more generalized automatic. So need to do more just getting it out while I do live streams over the next week. And I'm not sure I'll set this up every day over here or go to different spots. I'll probably be at different spots throughout this next week. And I'm not going to set all this up over by like the bridge, or I wouldn't drag this all the way up to where I hiked to 2 nights ago. But I can take this camera up here and kind of take the camera with me and just validate that I'm getting good settings. Because I think the challenge is it could be too bright, and I need to make sure that like the color and everything is coming through. Thanks, Tom. I'm glad you found me. Oh, the camera on me, yeah. The other one's not so much. I think that's the challenge. You're right, Delmar. There's like a white balance setting on here. There's also a color profile. There's ISO auto setting. There's like a gamma setting, and there's all these different things, knobs and dials that I need to like practice. But yeah, so like this cloud that's up here definitely has like a pink tone to it. It's up above El Cap, and the camera is just, I think it's overexposing that. Thanks, Aiden. The spot that I'm going to do for the firefall was where I went to today. I wanted to check it out. Well, now I'm getting more of the pink. Now the pink's coming through. You live 2 hours from Yosemite. That's pretty close. So Delmar, I hiked over to the spot where I'm planning to do my live streams from during the firefall, and I basically was testing out my Starlink over there, and also the zoom lens and stuff, just trying to make sure that what I'm gonna use then will work. So yeah, there's definitely some color out that way for sure too. Out to the west. woman bragging about in 23 days. You're probably talking about Sasha. Sasha, she's on TikTok, and yeah, I thought it was 11 days, but I could be wrong. It might have been 23 days. I don't even remember. But it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool to like think about somebody doing that, even if it seems miserable. I was curious how she pulled that off, and she actually cached water at the top. And so she spent like a few days hiking up with jugs of water, and then she had a support team that helped her by lowering down supplies to her. She basically got resupplied. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, the platinum wall was what she did. It might be the longest route. It's basically over in this area where we're looking at. Yeah, how did he do it in a day? I think it's like just, I don't know, like how does somebody run a 200-mile race? Have you seen people who run 200-mile races? Like run, literally run. And I don't know, you just are a different kind of athlete. And I think that's the answer for climbers that can do it in a day. They're just a different kind of athlete. And it's not something you can just do overnight or in one day. You could never build up that level of skill. And I think also most of the time these climbers that are doing it over the course of multiple days, they inherently have to go slower because they're hauling up a bag that has weight in it. I've talked to climbers who tell me that the haul bag that they have usually is like 60 to 100 pounds. And so if you're climbing without all that stuff, you probably could move pretty quickly, especially if you don't have all the ropes and stuff too. So I'm just speculating. Yeah, I've watched Dawnwall before. I like that movie for sure. Tommy Caldwell, I think, is one of my favorite climbers as well. He seems like a real, just good dude. The fact that he can climb with like half of a finger on one hand. He's got like 4.5 fingers on one hand. I think it's his thumb, isn't it? It's just crazy. Dude is crazy. I think anybody who can do this, no matter what, however long it takes you, if you do it by yourself, if you do it with another person, I think this is really hard. I think anything, even if you were just over in this area, like forget about El Cap, if you just went over into this area to the left of El Cap and you climbed up over there, it'd be really hard. Hey Trina, how's it going? One movie that I really like to watch is Meru, and that just even seems harder than this because it involves climbing over snow and ice and having a lot more gear and it's like a alpine big wall that's like a mix between rock climbing and mountaineering. It's crazy. And that movie was actually produced by the same person who produced Free Solo and the movie 14 Peaks. If you've not seen that movie, that's a good one too. What's the difference, Kay? The difference if you think about Everest, if you know anything about Everest, Everest is kind of like, it's not really a hike. You need to be roped up, but you're essentially hiking up a very steep hill with crampons on, where you're using different types of ropes and gears and anchors and all this stuff. And then there's like very little rock climbing. I think there's one spot at the top where there's like some climbing, but usually there's fixed ropes. So like where you're just kind of going up on a snow-covered or icy mountain would be what I think you could call mountaineering. And then rock climbing or big wall climbing would be like where you're just going up a straight up rock. Yeah, CJ. We'll see some headlamps soon. It's probably still bright up there for these folks that are on the wall. You're thinking of traveling the country in a van your senior year of high school summer. Do you like it? Yes, Brooke. That sounds like a great idea. I would definitely encourage anybody who has the freedom and opportunity to travel the country in a van or anything. You could even travel around in a Prius if you want, or whatever you got, a minivan. Certainly if you have a bigger van, it's a lot more comfortable if you can like stand up and stuff. But yeah, see the country, travel around, do that while you can. Because as you get older, if you make certain decisions, like it can be harder to do later on in life. The waterfalls. Oh yeah, supplemental oxygen, Tom, for sure. Yeah, that's scary. For me, that's part of why I would never want to do Everest. Just seems way too risky. Just from like the ability to breathe and stuff. The thought of being unable to breathe is very concerning to me. The waterfalls right now are actually okay. Yosemite Falls is pretty good. I have not done the Mist Trail during this trip yet, but I'll probably do that on Friday. This coming Friday, I'll probably go up the Mist Trail. Head up there early afternoon once I get done with work on Friday. And then, so yeah, I'm sure though the Mist Trail waterfalls are flowing, and Yosemite Falls is flowing pretty good. Bridal Veil Falls is flowing good. Some of the other waterfalls, like the one where I was just pointed, are just a trickle right now. Hey Kevin, yeah, this is El Capitan in Yosemite. And I'm just hanging out here waiting for it to get dark so that I can see some headlamps up on the wall. And then tonight, I'm going to probably head over by Tunnel View again, like always. And I'm going to make mashed potatoes. That's what I did yesterday too. I make a big bowl of mashed potatoes, eat some Tate's cookies. I watched The Price is Right last night, and I don't know if you guys like cooking shows, but I watched this show called Next Level Chef, and there's like a new season of that, so I watched that and just chilled in the van. You're thinking about going up next weekend. Cool. Yeah, next weekend should be good. I'll be around next weekend too. I am camping. Yeah, I'm camped at Upper Pines. The reason I don't go just drive over to Upper Pines when I leave here is because there's very poor cell service over in Upper Pines. My cellular service on the top of my van, it works, but it can be really pokey over there. And so if I'm just sitting in the van in the dark, I'm going to sit in the van in the dark where my internet works better, which is at Tunnel View. Yeah, there's people up there right now. And we will see them soon, just as soon as they decide to turn on their headlamps. I think I need to get more sophisticated with my meals here. But every time I think about that, it ends up being too complicated, too much time investment. Some of the other things that I cook when I come here, when I'm by myself, is I'll make those Knorr package of like rice and noodles. Those are really good. Knorr sides, I think they're called. I love to make those. I also like to make just like sausages and stuff. Cut those up and drop them in there. Steak. I think that's what I'm going to do this week. One night, I'm going to make a steak. When I drove to Alaska 2 years ago, I was on this kick where I was like, I'm going to make a steak every single night. And when I left home, every single night for like the first 7 or 8 days, I made a steak in the van. It was so good. And at some point, I got into like Canada, and the quality of the meat in the supermarkets just like wasn't very good. I was like, I gotta stop doing this and transition back to like eating other things. But here in the valley, there's actually a grocery store, and they actually have pretty good quality stuff. I sleep inside the park usually. Capone. I usually sleep inside the park. I have not seen our taco making friend, Kenai. Yeah, that was actually one of the best meals that I've had that didn't come from like one of the restaurants here. I've actually had some decent meals. One time me and Beach Bunny, my wife, came here and I made turkey. Well, I brought turkey. I smoked a turkey at home and then I cut it up and then we brought it here and then I reheated it on a grill and basically did like the whole Thanksgiving dinner kind of thing. It was really pretty elaborate, and that was probably one of the most elaborate meals I've made here. Yeah, follow the taco man around. I looked up how to make those tacos, and I guess it's just more about the spices you use. I don't know. All this talking about food, I probably should just go over to the grocery store tonight and get something and make it. But I talk about this now, and then I'm like, in 30 minutes it's dark, and I'm like, I'm just going to go to Tunnelview and make mashed potatoes. My mind changes often. I think some people might say, well, changing your mind often means you're indecisive. But I don't know that that's true. I think it means I'm constantly organizing my thoughts and trying to make the best decision with what I know at hand. Oh, when you go to Yosemite, yeah. I've not been to Mammoth in a while. Hey, Travel Talk Show. How's it going? Thank you for the populars. Simply spontaneous. Yeah, I think that's it. Ooh. Whatever I make, I'm going to make it later, and I'm going to post a picture of what I make to my story. My TikTok story. I'm not somebody who usually posts my meals on TikTok, but today I will post an update so you guys can see what I eat for dinner. When I make mashed potatoes, it's probably about 60% mashed potatoes and then 40% cheese. Cheese makes everything better. Tatas. Oh, I'm not eating very substantial stuff. Travel talk show. I have been eating effectively backpacker food throughout this trip, except for this morning. I went to Degnan's. Cheese gives you the runs. Ooh, yikes. I don't know if I would be able to handle going on. Like, cheese is like one of my food groups. That's brutal, not being able to eat cheese. It is kind of cold here. Yeah, it got cold as soon as the sun was almost down, and then once it was down, now, yeah, it's getting cold. I think it's probably 43, 44 degrees right now. I do live kind of close, Adonis. I live about 3 hours away. Technically, it's about 3.5. But as soon as I get to a certain place in the mountains, it starts to feel like I'm already here. So, you know, like the approach. Once I get to like the actual the foothills, kind of near Mariposa, once I'm there, I just feel like that I'm pretty much here. So it takes me about 3.5 hours to get to the visitor center from home. Sometimes longer if I end up stopping. I do always stay for long periods, Samantha. Yeah, I generally stay for like 5 days. My job is I work as a product manager for a tech company. You might be wondering, what does a product manager for a tech company do? It's kind of a mix between business strategy and technical planning. And I work with our engineering team, our software engineering team, and our designers and our like sales teams and support teams. Act as like kind of a central person to making sure that the product is being built for customer needs, talking to a lot of customers, but I still get to be a little bit technical, but I don't write code or anything like that. There is some snow on the ground in places, Mo. It's really patchy, just down here at the lower level. Very, very thin layers in certain shady spots, but up in the high country, there is a fair amount of snow. One thing that I always take a look at when I'm curious about what the conditions are like here in Yosemite is on the Yosemite Conservancy website. There's webcams there, and the High Sierra webcam is a good indicator of what it's like up at higher elevations, because it's basically at Glacier Point, looking northeast towards Half Dome, and if you look at that, you would see a lot of snow. Definitely a lot of snow up at higher elevations. Yeah, yep, we're short on snow for Firefall for sure. There's just a little bit of water trickling down over there. Probably, if I had to estimate it, there's probably like 3 gallons per, maybe a gallon per second. I don't know. It's not a lot of water, but there is enough that there is a flow, like a visible flow. And something, it's coming down, but it would be better if there was more. Yeah, there are climbers up there, and we will see lights come on probably any moment. I think if I was a climber, just like anybody who's spending the night out in the wild, I would wait until it was absolutely necessary to turn on my headlamp. And you might wonder, well, why? Because like they have limited battery, and yeah, so at some point, could you imagine being up there and like your headlamp runs out of juice? That would be a really bad situation. I'm sure they probably plan, like anybody who's going out into the wild. Oh, there's a headlamp. I just saw one come on up there. See that? Right on the middle slit there, kind of 3/4 of the way up. Oh, thanks for checking in on Beach Bunny. Did she have Callie down there with her? Yeah, there's definitely a climber right there. Thank you, Michelle. Appreciate that. Appreciate the cake slices. I see another headlamp down below. To the right of that one. Temperature right now is kind of cold. It's definitely kind of cold. Probably 43 degrees. Yeah, there's a climber up there with their light. Oh, Beach Bunny's talking about the camper van. Really? She loves the camper van. I don't know. Sometimes she doesn't seem to love it when it's cold. we we do go places together, and her needs are not the same as mine for sure. When I am in the van, I am pretty much in the like put on more layers and more layers until I feel warm. She'll be like, "Can you turn on the heater?" So yeah, I know some people are like, okay, if you live in a house, right? Everybody, many people, most people live in a house or some kind of an apartment, right? Do you turn on the heat when you're like wearing shorts, or do you just put on pants and a sweatshirt? she's kind of the like turn on the heat type of person, but that's okay. I do have the heater, and I do turn it on for her. Okay, there's another light down onto the left now. Oh, Callie's there too. Nice. Yeah, yeah, Caroline. Exactly. It's just too expensive to run the heat. We live in a house that has an older furnace too. It's not very efficient. So like the first 2 years we lived there, I think it was even the first 3 winters. Basically, the controller for the furnace was like one of those old school things where you just move a little slider thing back and forth, and it was it's like on or off. So if you want to like turn it up, you got to like walk over to the thing and like press this little knob back and forth. And so now we have a Nest thermostat, and I can program it to like come on at certain times of day and stuff like that. Yeah, the little mercury in there, exactly. And so now with the Nest thermostat, it's programmed so we don't waste money heating when we don't need it with this knob, but we also can control it with our voices. So it's like patched into the Alexa, and so you can like sit in the room and be like, Alexa or Echo, turn the heat up to 68, and it'll trigger the furnace and stuff. It's very sophisticated. I can actually control it from inside the van too. So if I was in the van and I was like, we've had times where we've been driving home, and it's like, okay, we're 30 minutes from home, turn on the heat. You can do that from the van. Yeah, there's different ways that they climb with ropes. Sometimes there's somebody belaying them. Sometimes they do kind of top like a single rope by themselves. So my secondary camera here, where my face is at, in this little second picture-in-picture box, if I didn't have my big camera set up right now, it would already be getting dark up there on the wall. So my nighttime lens, basically, is what I call it. This lens that I have, I use to do night sky photography. It's really able to like capture a lot of light. So that's why we can still see all the features of the rock, even though now I'm actually looking at it like with my eyes. I can see more through the stream than I can see with my eyes. So it's actually pulling in more light. Yeah, Kat, I think you could probably use a smart thermostat with your pellet stove. Oh, a wood stove. We do have a wood burning fireplace too. We haven't actually used it yet this year. It just hasn't been like super cold to the point where making a fire is the thing to do, and that's kind of disappointing. I would actually like to make a fire sometime this winter. Yeah, those are people up there with headlamps. There's actually 2 climbers in that area. Yeah, yeah, the blue glow. So if you go on my TikTok page here, I do have a couple of night sky videos that I've done. Some of those I use my 360 camera. Some of those I use my Sony camera. And the ones where I'm doing time lapses here at El Cap, and then there's one that I did over by Tunnel View. Those are using this camera that you're that you're looking through right now. Let me see if they can see the full moon. Oh, come to the East Coast right now. 19 or 20 degrees, that's tough. Let's see, full moon. I don't see it because I think it's back behind the trees over there. There is a mostly full moon, but I think it's just still below the horizon. Yeah, when there's a full moon, it can be a good thing or a bad thing, depending upon what type of video or photo you're trying to get. I did a time lapse over here in late September where there was clouds moving through the sky and the light from the moon caused cool shadows to move across the face of El Cap. So it produced like this really cool motion effect. But if it's just a full moon and there's no other like stuff like that going on, then it just makes for this like weird lines across the face and stuff like that. The second camera here is almost not picking up anything. It's getting dark. Yeah, Mo, I am on the Starlink right now. Thank you for the heart, me. Um, it's like 6 p.m. Even if you're climbing all day, I don't think you get tired that quickly. So they're probably up there, then they like make their mashed potatoes or whatever they're eating, couscous or whatever, and then they go to sleep probably around 9 or 10. Usually when I go over to Tunnel View after I'm sitting here, I'll see these headlamps on for hours, for the next couple hours. Yeah. It's just crazy. I'm standing here and I'm looking out, and there's just these lights are so small. Way up there. And there's another light down to the left now. Right above the chat. Right there at the top of the part of the chat area. There's a little bright light there. I'm surprised there's only what looks like maybe 2 groups up here right now, but I'm certain there's another group over here to the right. That guy going up Native Sun. My guess is that this group up here right now will either finish tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. Yeah, hey Gary. It is a beautiful night. It is cold out here too. I am going to put away my chair because I feel like standing now. I do see it. Oh, I looked straight up over me right now and I can see a satellite. It's definitely not a plane. Let me see if I can catch it on the feed here. That's the satellite. The Starlink satellites can also be pretty active as well. I think I just saw a shooting star. I see some people on TikTok, they have really sophisticated telescopes and stuff, doing like zoom in on the moon. I think that's the satellite. It might be out of view now. Yeah, right now, my other camera would definitely not be picking up all this light and these stars. Hey KT, how's it going? A lot of cars heading out of the valley right now. Everybody's heading wherever they're going. I don't know. Back home, maybe. Your first trip was last December, right before Christmas. Yeah, I can understand wanting to go back already. That light up there is a climber. There's two climbers actually up there. And I'm actually shocked. Oh, now I see another light over here. I was just about to say, it's like, where are the other climbers? There's one over here. There it is. See it? I am not on vacation. Fortunately for me, like, it just, this is close enough for me where it's come here and I don't know. There are times where I come here and I would label it as a vacation where I have like dedicated time off, but right now I'm just here living life in the van, working remotely from the van during the week, and on the weekend doing my whatever I want to do. And because like I don't work until midnight, like when I'm done working, I just hop out of the van and do stuff. So I try to do a hike every day. Today I just did like a short hike. I was actually scouting out a spot where I'm going to come back to later in February. And I wanted to make sure that my plan for that day or time was well thought out, and basically testing out this setup here that I have with my camera, my full-size camera that I'm using here, hooked up to my laptop. So that's what I did today. It was just a short hike, and it was the same hike I did yesterday, but I didn't quite go as far as I did yesterday, like a few hundred yards less. But it was one of my favorite hikes. That's what I did today, just a shorter version. While it is still just a little bit light here, I'm putting away a few things. I'm not looking at the chat, so sorry if I miss any questions. I just want to put away a few things while I have a little bit of light and it's not too cold out. There. Takes about 4 days to get to the top for most climbers. On harder routes, it can take much longer. Hey, see you later, Caroline. Oh, the ISS is coming soon? Cool. Probably going to keep the stream going for just a few more minutes, as it's now dark and we're just looking at the lights. But yesterday we were watching at the same time, and I was using my cell phone and it just went dark. So yeah, my Frankenstein setup here with all my gadgets and gadgets plugged into my laptop worked well, I believe. So this is what I'm going to do for Firefall. I'm going to come back with this same setup, and I'm going to basically have my laptop set up over by the Southside Valley Loop Trail with my zoom lens. See you later, KT. And instead of my regular cell phone trying to zoom in on the Firefall, like, it's just not going to be that crisp. If you're zooming in with like a cell phone compared to a lens that's like the size of your forearm, there's really no comparison. And the size of the sensor too inside my camera, it's kind of like whatever, 35 millimeters wide. It's three and a half centimeters wide. It's almost as wide as a actual phone. So much bigger surface area for catching the light and all that. And I tested out different zooms and stuff, and so I'll be able to like zoom in from like, you know, really close on the actual firefall to like zooming out and seeing the whole mountain. Thank you, Alexia. I appreciate that. I'm glad you like my live streams. One thing that I didn't bring with me on this trip, which I should have, was an extra cable to plug into my my power bank for my laptop. But my laptop's at 22%. And I also am streaming this onto, hey Kayla, I'll be here for the next week. I'll be here through Sunday, and then I'm going to come back in around the 22nd or so, 21st, and be around for a few days then too, because that'll be when the special lighting situation is going on here in this area. So yeah, I'm not always doing this exact setup, but I am often in Yosemite streaming. Oh, cool. Badlands. I like the Badlands area. When you go to the Badlands, be sure to go into the visitor center and check out the fossil lab. There's some cool stuff in there. There are Park Service people whose job is to like take the fossils that they find out in the park and clean them up, catalog them, identify what it is, and then like record it and put it into their catalog, their archive. And if you're going to be in the Badlands area, I would also encourage you to go over to Wind Cave National Park, and do the Fairyland trail. Well, Fairyland, I guess they call it. It's just, I mean, it's inside a cave. It's not really a trail. But go into the cave. It is so cool. I really like Wind Cave. There's some neat stuff in there called Boxworks that just is mind-boggling. These like formations inside the cave. Hey Carol, how's it going? That person was going way too fast, bro. Slow down. Are there caves in Yosemite? Yeah, kind of. There are a few spots where there are some things that you could kind of call a cave, but nothing like you would find in like the long caves or the big caves. Like Wind Cave, Jewel Cave, Mammoth Cave, Carlsbad. Just nothing even remotely close to that. But there are some what would be more like just little nooks, kind of like a nook here in Yosemite. This is by El Cap. Mammoth Caves, yeah. I've been there one time. We did do the cave tour there, me and my wife and daughter, and that was fun. I used to be scared of caves, but now I kind of like them. There's definitely a fear. There's like a fear factor of like, well, what if the lights go out? How do we get out of here? So when I go into a cave, even when I'm going on these cave tours, I bring a headlamp, I bring a flashlight, because like I don't know what's gonna happen, and you don't want to be down there with like your phone as the only light source if you like needed it. But when you go into the jewel cave, there's a spot where the ranger will turn off all the lights in the area, and just the darkness. It's so dark. Yeah, so now we can see the moon. The moonlight hitting just to the right of these climbers, that area that's turned now white or colored, just lit up, I guess. That's the moonlight. And there's a fair amount of stars out here. Even though the moon is out, I can see more stars over to the east. Oh, okay, you've got the app. Nice. Yeah, I'm a nerd too. We're nerds together. There's not much snow right now, not in the valley, but there is some patches in spots, and then there's definitely snow up in the high country. Good amount. So as best I can tell, there's only two groups up on the wall right now. There's this group up here, and then there's a guy over to the right who does not have his headlamp on, surprisingly enough. I don't know. I don't know how you could like go to bed at 6 p.m. because I usually can only sleep for like 8 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours. If I went to bed right now, I'd be up at 2 a.m. and I'd be like, what do I do now? It is pretty cold. Yeah. It's maybe 43 degrees. Those cars that just drove past were going at appropriate speed. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure, Grace. A light night person. Camping here. The Upper Pines campground is open right now. There's a couple of campgrounds in the valley. There's Upper Pines, Lower Pines, North Pines. There's Camp 4. If you go outside the valley, there's a few more. There's Tuolumne Meadows, Crane Flat. There's one actually up on Glacier Point Road. There's one in Wawona. Take a look at the NPS website, the National Park Service website, for the camping breakdown. The challenge isn't so much like wanting to go or knowing which one you want to go to. The challenge is getting a spot. And the best way to get a spot is using an app or a website called Camp Flare, which basically is a free thing. You can set up a look like a watcher, and it will alert you when there's an opening, and then you can like log in and grab it. So that is what I use. Yeah, I think that hotel is going to reopen. I think they're working on it. I think it's going to reopen in the next year or two. Interestingly enough, when Theodore Roosevelt came to Yosemite, he actually went to the Wawona Hotel and they stayed there on their way into the park. They didn't go some other way. And I think that probably was because the train that he used to get to the park brought him to like Fresno, I think. So came in through like the south side of the park. Is this after the tunnel? Yeah, this is in the park right here. This is El Cap. There's 2 climber groups up on the wall. There's actually, I just saw the light come on over by the other person. I'll probably just hang on here until 6:32. So about 4 more minutes. I want to see if I can see the ISS. And if I can see it, I will point my camera at it and we can watch the satellite go, space station, go overhead. Tomorrow, ooh, that was a weird noise. Tomorrow I have, I was just looking, I see a headlamp way up by Sentinel Falls, or Ribbon Fall. Kind of through the trees over there. Over to the left. You camped out in Australia for the ISS inaugural orbit. That's cool. So my day tomorrow, I'll be writing, I have to write some papers. We call them product requirements documents. That's what I'll be busy on my laptop. Okay, 10 west, max height of 13. Hopefully El Cap isn't blocking it. Yeah, that's in like the next 2 minutes. I'm looking west, 10 degrees west. I don't know what that is, but I'm looking to the west. Oh, 10 degrees height. The space station is passing overhead in the next minute. Ah, I think I see it. Is it coming north to south? Right there. See that? That might be it. I mean, that's north-south. Cool. Yeah, it's heading towards, I mean, it's basically off. My guess is where it's at, straight up and down, is like it's out over the west, just probably over the Pacific, west of California. California is a big state, but it's not that wide. So where it's at, I have a feeling it's like out over the water. I don't know if I lost it. I think I lost it. It's just going down over to the left there. Right there, to the left of the rock, to the right of the rock. There. That person was going way too fast. Way too fast, bro. Come on. Oh, that was cool. Glad that got to see that, and that I was able to get it on the camera too. Right now I'm out by El Cap Meadow, and I'm probably gonna pack up here in about 2 minutes. So appreciate all of y'all hanging out with me for today's live stream. I do like the Everglades. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of flat. It's very flat. But it's cool. It's cool for what it is. When I went there, I did go to the west side of the park, Everglades City, I think it is, and then I went to Shark Cove, Shark Valley, and then I went to the Flamingo area, and I camped in the park, kind of all up in there, different areas. It was sort of underwhelming from the amount of birds that I saw, which I didn't see very many, but I think it was just the wrong time of year for birds. I would have liked to see more birds. Hey, KW from Oakhurst. Oh, D. Yeah, sorry if you just joined. Thanks, Grace. Have a good evening. Yeah, it's 6:35, so I am going to go ahead and sign off. My actual laptop is telling me no, I have low battery, so it's a perfect time to wrap up. Normally I would put my face in front of the camera and wave at you all, but it is too dark, and if I stand in front of this lens that's pointed at the rock, you won't be able to see me because the focus will just be all off. So in any case, I will say goodnight, and thank you all for hanging out and supporting me. Have a good day or evening wherever you are, and maybe see you tomorrow. Have a good week. Bye-bye.